The tree holding Sasuke Uchiha turned into red ashes in the wind. Boruto's master is gone forever, but his chakra didn't die. Kawaki smirked because he thought he'd won, but his true nightmare has only just begun. Let's rewind a bit so you can get the full picture. The battlefield was a total wreck and Boruto was down on his knees. The air felt heavy and hope was officially dead. That's when Kawaki prepped his final move to erase our hero for good. You gotta visualize the insane scene going down right there. Kawaki raised his hand and summoned giant cosmic stakes to drive straight through Boruto's chest. But a bizarre roar ripped through the dark sky because Sasuke's tree finally collapsed. Kawaki destroyed the hero's master to break his mind and secure a victory fueled by pure despair. The pain in Boruto's eyes was almost too much to handle. He screamed and gripped his master's sword with every bit of strength he had left. Then the dust settled and revealed something no human could have ever predicted. Kawaki thought the death of the Uchiha was the end of the line, but he actually triggered his own downfall. The first major plot twist hits your screen right now. Sasuke's spirit didn't cross over and decided to stay on Earth instead. His will of fire was so dense that it refused to burn out. So the Uchiha's soul dove down like an invisible lightning bolt and went straight into the worn-out blade Boruto was holding. Man, the sword started pulsing with energy from another world. The metal vibrated intensely because Sasuke's stellar chakra was merging with the weapon, and Boruto felt an electric current rush through his veins all at once. The despair vanished and was replaced by an absolute sense of divine power. Kawaki took a step back because he realized something was seriously wrong. The aura coming off the blade wasn't normal chakra, but pure celestial force. Boruto looked up, and his karma mark began to shift. The dark color of the curse melted away, and an insane golden glow took over his entire arm. This was the exact moment the story flipped upside down. Boruto fused the master's residual power with the Otsutsuki mark and created something brand new. Divine lightning ripped through the sky and turned the hero into someone untouchable. The karma resonance wasn't about destruction anymore, but about an absolute protection that blinded Kawaki instantly. Kawaki tried to attack, but the stakes turned to dust before they even got close to the hero. Boruto opened his eyes, and his Jugen was shining like a supernova. He pointed the light-covered sword at the enemy and got ready to strike back. But the true scale of this power hides a secret that Kawaki is about to find out the hard way in the next second of the fight. Kawaki went into a total panic because Boruto's light was completely blinding him. He backed up and tried to activate his eyes to make sense of this bizarre situation. But the hero didn't give him a second to breathe and vanished in a golden flash. The stone ground melted instantly because the speed of that move broke the barriers of sound and light. Can you imagine Kawaki's face when Boruto appeared right behind him? The hero didn't even use ninjutsu and just moved the sword charged with divine lightning. Kawaki blocked the hit by reflex using his modified alien tech arm. But the impact generated a shockwave that wiped the ruins of Konoha right off the map. The dust kicked up and Kawaki was sent flying because Boruto's physical strength was just irrational. The impact shattered what was left of the Hokage monument and opened a massive crater in the ground. Then Kawaki stood up bleeding and blind fury took over his mind once and for all. He activated his red karma and decided to erase the entire planet if he had to. The sky changed colors and thousands of black portals opened up in every direction. Kawaki summoned an infinite rain of deadly stakes and threw everything he had at Boruto. Gravity seemed to vanish because the cosmic pressure of that attack was warping reality itself. Man, the situation was a total nightmare and destruction felt absolutely inevitable. But Boruto just took a deep breath and held the sword with both hands calmly. He closed his eyes and his master's golden chakra exploded into a majestic aura. The stellar karma glowed bright and the hero started running straight toward that suicidal attack. The dance of light had just begun and the show was going to be terrifyingly beautiful to watch. Boruto dodged the first stake and parried the second with humiliating ease. He leaped through the debris and turned the battlefield into a literal glowing playground. His sword left a trail of stars in the air, and every strike disintegrated the enemy's attacks. The hero wasn't fighting to kill, but instead playing with his former brother's arrogance. You can feel Kawaki's agony trying to hit a target that looked like it was made of pure mirage. He fired blasts of black fire and used shrinking to catch the hero off guard. But Sasuke's celestial lightning gave Boruto a perception that was way beyond space and time. He anticipated every millimeter of the attack because his eyes saw the future of the moves. Kawaki's frustration hit the breaking point, and he started making unforgivable mistakes. He tried to grab Boruto with his bare hand, but only caught the residual light left in the air. Boruto dropped from above and drove a golden knee into his opponent's chest without mercy. Kawaki spat out blood and hit the ground with a force that shook the entire earth. The hero landed softly, and his sword didn't have a single drop of blood on it. He looked down at Kawaki, and his expression projected an unwavering and absolute peace. The Uchiha's power purified Boruto's hate and turned revenge into true divine justice. But the villain couldn't accept being surpassed, and madness took him over completely. Kawaki laughed like a maniac, and his eyes started bleeding a dark and bizarre chakra. He slammed both hands onto the destroyed ground and started sucking the air and light right out of the place. Reality began to crack like glass, and a scary black void started swallowing everything around. Kawaki made the most extreme choice possible, and what Boruto will have to do to survive, this is going to change world history forever. The black vacuum tore through the ground under the hero's feet because Kawaki forced open the Daikokutten portal. The entire reality began to get sucked into that absolute darkness, and the stones of Konoha floated away into oblivion. Kawaki was screaming with pure hate, and his despair was fueling that insane magic. The end of the world seemed certain because not even light could escape that crushing gravity. Man, you gotta imagine the freezing wind from that dead dimension pulling at Boruto without mercy. But the hero drove his glowing sword into the shattered ground and refused to take a single step back. The gravitational force was warping his skin, and the pressure would have turned any normal ninja to dust instantly. But the golden aura of the karma started pulsing harder to protect the boy's body. Kawaki was laughing from above because he thought the infinite void would swallow the hero's legacy forever. Boruto looked at that black hole and realized that normal strikes would never close that cosmic rift. He needed something much bigger, and then Sasuke's spirit whispered one last lesson into his mind. True strength doesn't come from hate, but from the will to protect the ones you love. The boy closed his eyes and channeled every memory of his family and his destroyed village. He joined the love for his father and the determination of his master into a single point inside his chest. Then he took that glowing will of fire and mixed it directly with the stellar chakra of the divine karma. The spiritual chemical reaction triggered an explosion of energy that stopped the portal's gravity right then and there. Your phone screen is going to shake when you visualize this scene actually happening. A massive column of light ripped through the dark clouds and came down right on top of Boruto's body. The translucent energy started taking shape, and giant bones of pure golden chakra appeared in the air. Kawaki's eyes went wide because he realized this was the hero's ultimate avatar of divine power. A Celestial Susanoo like nothing ever seen before rose up in the middle of that desolate battlefield. It didn't have the Uchiha star color, but instead a majestic glow that lit up the entire dimension. The avatar held a sword made of sunbeams, and its presence radiated an unexplainable and terrifying peace. Boruto floated at the center of that entity, and his gaze signaled the end of the line for the villain. Kawaki lost whatever sanity he had left and threw all the power of his black karma at the giant. He fired concentrated beams of pure annihilation and summoned cubes heavy enough to crush an entire country. But the Avatar of Light's sword moved with absurd lightness and sliced through every attack like they were made of paper. The villain's offense was useless because the light purified the darkness instantly. Man, the Daikokutten dimension started collapsing because of the extreme glow of that giant being. The Avatar stepped on the ground, and the wave of restorative energy swept through the dimensional portal from the inside out. Kawaki screamed in agony because his forbidden technique was being undone by light and justice. Space-time finally cracked, and both were thrown back into the skies over Konoha. The sun started shining on the real world again, and the golden giant loomed over the ruins of the village. Kawaki was exhausted and out of chakra, but he kept growling like a cornered animal ready to bite. Boruto raised the Avatar's giant hand and concentrated all the power of the star into a single glowing point. The divine judgment was ready to be fired, and the tension of this scene will have you holding your breath. The massive sword came down toward Kawaki's chest with the speed of a flaming meteor. The imminent impact was about to erase the villain's existence from the face of the earth and seal the fate of the ninja world. But in the exact millisecond before the fatal blow, Boruto made a choice that breaks all logic. The impact didn't cause an explosion of blood, but a silent flash that reveals the most insane plot twist in history that I'll tell you about in the final chapter. The golden flash swallowed Kawaki's entire body, and the screen went completely white for a second. The giant Susanoo sword didn't cut flesh, but instead went straight through the villain's soul. Boruto didn't want revenge because he understood the true meaning of being a real ninja. The impact didn't cause pain, but instead an absolute burning that fried the alien cells from the inside out. You were expecting blood flying everywhere, but Boruto used the divine lightning to perform a flawless spiritual surgery. Sasuke's chakra guided the blade with precision and found the Otsutsuki parasite hidden deep in Kawaki's soul. The hero concentrated all the starlight and incinerated only the alien curse that was corrupting his brother's mind. Kawaki screamed at the top of his lungs because the black karma melted off his skin and evaporated into thin air. The villain's cosmic armor shattered into 1,000 glowing pieces and turned to golden dust scattered in the cold wind. Boruto's giant avatar vanished from the sky because his divine mission was finally a total success. Kawaki fell to his knees on the destroyed ground of Konoha and breathed fresh air for the first time in years. His body didn't have a single mark left, and that absurd power was gone forever. Kawaki looked at his own shaking hands and realized he was back to being just a normal and fragile human. Ida's brainwashing began to break across the entire world because the core of Kawaki's karma ceased to exist. People's fake memories started melting away, and the true story flooded everyone's minds at once. Boruto landed calmly in front of his brother and sheathed his master's sword with terrifying peace. The villain expected to be executed right there on the spot because he destroyed the village and hurt the hero's whole family. But Boruto reached out with his bruised hand and gave a gentle smile that disarmed whatever hate was left. Kawaki cried desperately on the ground because the weight of the guilt crashed down on his shoulders all at once. The hero forgave his brother's sins and proved that the light of forgiveness is the strongest weapon in the ninja universe. The celestial lightning chakra started raining over the ruins of the village, and a beautiful miracle began to happen. The destroyed stones glowed intensely, and the earth's life energy started rebuilding the fallen monuments fast. People climbed out of the rubble slowly and looked at the golden sky with tears of joy streaming down their faces. The age of the gods ended right there, and humanity was finally free from the alien threat forever. Boruto raised his glowing hand and used the last spark of divine power to unlock the sealed dimension. A blue portal opened softly in the wind, and Naruto fell to the ground alongside Hinata, perfectly safe and sound. The seventh Hokage opened his eyes slowly and saw his son bathed in light, holding a crying Kawaki on the broken ground. That family's hug pulled the pieces of a broken world back together, and love healed all the wounds of the bloody war. Sasuke's spirit watched the scene from afar and gave a proud smile before vanishing into the air to rest in peace. He passed the mantle on with honor, and Boruto became the true ultimate shinobi the world needed so badly. Eternal peace descended on the ninja nations quickly, and children started playing in the rebuilt streets of Konoha again. The Otsutsuki threat became just an ancient legend because the hero wiped the curse from the entire universe for good. The journey was insane and full of horrible losses, but the ending proved that hope always beats dark despair. Boruto didn't need to turn into a dark monster, because he chose his master's path of light and save his own brother. The big lesson here is that the greatest power isn't destroying planets, but having the strength to save a single lost soul. The story of the karma ended in a completely brilliant way, and this legend will echo forever. Man, if you felt the absolute impact of this story and your heart is racing, then hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next scripts, because the narrative quality is only going up from here. There's another insane video on the channel showing the shocking truth about the secret origin of Boruto's eye, and you need to watch it ASAP. I'll see you on the other side of this abyss for more epic stories. Much love.